We mentioned Buddy Hield, man, and looking to get some scoring going. Got a lot of questions. Stacy asked in the tweet during the game. She DM'd me. Winona was talking about it. She's here in the chat, and a few people here in the chat as well. We'll get to our super chat here in just a bit, but we talked about this after the first 5, 6, 7 games where Buddy Hield looked really good. And we know that the one thing that we're waiting to really see the full complement of who Buddy Hield we think might be with this basketball team is when Joel Embiid does come back, if and when he does come back. But man, they could really use him. And again, tonight, just 3 for 9 off the bench.
Yeah. And worth pointing out that he left the game limping pretty late there. I don't know if he bumped knees. It looked like maybe when he went up to contest the Fox floater, or maybe on the ensuing possession when he tried to go ISO late in the game. I'm not entirely sure where it happened or what it is. I haven't seen an update. I also haven't been following Twitter all that much because we are doing a live show. But that's something to monitor going forward. I do think, especially with someone like Buddy, we're a little bit prisoners of the moment. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. That's a lot of following sports nowadays. He wasn't nearly as good as he showed in his first 4 games. And sometimes when you get, shown something like that, and it's your first sort of impression with him in a new environment, you can overstate that. That being said, he's not as bad as he has shown in these last 2 weeks. You can go through swings like this over the course of the season. You can definitely go through swings like that when you're not when you're not put in the right situation. And one thing I said right from the jump with Buddy, he's the kind of player that he's very context dependent. And I do think, and people don't want to hear this now, they're probably getting sick of me saying it, I think he's going to be much better and much more valuable when Joel Embiid returns and when he can form that 2-man game and when he has somebody with a little bit of gravity and somebody that they're terrified of doubling off of. It'll be just a lot easier to get him shots that he's comfortable taking and making, and his strengths will be more obvious and his weaknesses will be a little less obvious, and we all won't freak out. And he'll still probably only be a 25-minute per game player. Like, that's why, I remember when we first started talking about Buddy, people were like, oh my God, how could you not say he's obviously a starter? Well, because he has limitations, and we're seeing that in a big way now. And watching him create off the dribble has been really, really frustrating. And it's very slow moving, side to side. It's just not been effective at all. But he will be better. He's meant to catch and shoot and attack closeouts when he has to and make obvious reads with passing the ball and swinging it, not to try to attack straight up. And it's just, shooters are always streaky. And I think Buddy, he was given a little more creation at the beginning and succeeded in a way that was completely unsustainable. But he's been bad for 2 weeks. There's no getting around that. But that's not defining who he is. Like, he has a big body of work in the NBA. I think we have a really good idea of what he is and what he will be. That doesn't go away just because he struggled here over the last couple of weeks. But I think fans also, by the same token, have every right to be frustrated because you're just, like we said, you were begging for anyone other than Tyrese to do anything in this game. The 2 guys that you have the most hope for are Tobias, well, not hope for anymore. But certainly the 2 guys you would look to are Tobias Harris, your $40 million man, and Buddy Hield, an elite shooter, and neither one of them came through.
No, he finished with 7 points tonight on 3 of 9 shooting and did not make any of his 3-point attempts. I believe it was 0 for 6 for Buddy Hield from beyond. And as you said, when we look to him with Tobias Harris to maybe knock down some shots to help out Maxey, that's what Buddy Hield is. He's an outside shooter. That's what he does. And at first, Derek and I, when we did the show, and I keep bringing this up because this is what we talked about. We were listening to the broadcast, and someone said he's a great scorer or elite scorer, whatever it was, and we said no, he's a great or elite shooter, not a scorer. And he showed us something different in those first couple of games. And as you said, prisoners of the moment, because he showed us quite a bit with the ball in his hands. Maxey missed some time there too. So a lot of it was really where they relied on him to create and finish at the basket, also hit those outside shots. And he did it. And in this one here tonight and over the last 2 weeks, as you mentioned, we're seeing him rush shots. He is a streaky shooter, but he's also taking shots just to try to get something going where you're like, don't take that one. Yes, I want you to shoot threes, but You just hoisted that one up there just because you needed to get a shot off and you had some space. And yes, he does have a quick release. He doesn't need a lot of space at all. But at some point, something has to fall for him. And while they have in the past in the Sixers uniform, they desperately need that to come back. And to your point, we keep bringing it up. We should see the best version of Buddy Hield when and if Joel Embiid gets back on the floor.
Yeah. And by the way, the best version of Buddy Hield will still be streaky. His game is just based around the shot so much, and shooting, even the best ones, even the greatest ones of all time, are going to be streaky. It's just the nature of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just got to hang on with that one, see if they can pull some wins out, see if he can knock down some shots, get some more minutes on the floor. No Kelly Oubre. So the minutes were there. He got the minutes once again where he was on the floor for 32 minutes. And that's where you're like, my man, you're out there for 32 minutes. I needed a little bit more offensively from you. 9 shots, 7 points, over 6 from 3. I needed a little bit more. He did grab some rebounds. He did dish the basketball a little bit for a few assists. A few more points to go with that would have looked much better on the stat line as he logged 32 minutes off the bench for Nick Nurse's team.
We all silly like the mayor.